What's going on, y'all? My name is Grayson Russell.
Hey, it's Presley Tennant here.
Hey everybody, Robbie Johnson here.
This is Darian Lee.
Hey y'all, this is Billy Joe Jones.
My name is Rye Rivers.
Hi, I'm Chloe Styler, and you are listening to The Jay Franzi Show.
Be sure to enjoy it.
Thank y'all.
Welcome to The Jay Franzi Show, a behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Franzi.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Franzi, and with me tonight, the Amy to my Vince, my beautiful co-host, Miss Tiffany Mason.
Good evening, Jay.
If you are new to the show, this is your source for the latest news, reviews, and interviews. And if you would like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, you can head over to jfranzi.com. All right, my friend, tonight we have a very special guest. I said it once, I will say it again. We have a very special guest. We actually
I say
it again. We have a rock, an alternative, and a metal recording artist. Hailing from the great state of Minnesota, we have Gradience. Gradience, my friends, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, Jay.
Pretty good.
Good.
It's good to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
All right, well, let's just jump in. We mentioned the name Gradience. Gradience has a meaning behind it. So I would like to know if we're taking the literal meaning of the word and tying it to your genres of music.
Yeah, I would say when we originally came up with the name, that was definitely the goal and is definitely still pretty true to like the music we create, because it's no clear-cut boundary between one or many objects. And for us, it's like no clear-cut boundary between like hard rock, metal, and kind of the rock we just like to make.
How did we get together in the first place?
I guess I'll do that
one.
one.
It's my turn.
I wasn't here first. So.
Yeah, we started out in college, like many bands. Formed in the dorms. We started for a music talent show at MSUM College up in Moorhead, Minnesota. We wrote and played the same songs within like the same week there, and then we were graced with the presence of Darian. After that, we kind of kicked off. We realized, hey, we like this stuff. We want to keep doing it, so we kept playing shows.
So you say you were graced with his presence, and I get that. I completely understand. I can feel that already. However, how long was it? Was it right away, like that same week?
We were jamming together. It was me, Ford, and our original drummer. We were just jamming in the dorms and stuff, and we saw like a talent show flyer that was happening that first fall semester, and we went to do the like talent show work. Yeah, we got this. We're cool.
That was the fall of 2019. We had the talent show where basically I met these two and the original drummer. They were doing their set, and I had a set immediately after them where I was just doing a solo vocals guitar thing. Afterwards, they had asked if I wanted to join them as like a bass player and a vocalist, and we kind of jammed around a little bit, and in the span of a few months, come February of 2020, we were doing our first show together.
All right, I need to take a quick little tangent because you mentioned it. You're bass player and vocalist. How hard is it to play bass and sing at the same time?
It kind of depends. I've been playing for a while now, and so I've always been playing guitar, piano, bass, and singing for many years now, and so it's just kind of natural at this point. There's a few songs that we've played where it is a little bit difficult. One of the first few songs that we were developing, it was a bit of a challenge, but you just keep playing and you get used to it, and it becomes muscle memory at one point to the part where you're only thinking about the words.
To me, I would struggle with that. It's just like playing drums. I cannot get my limbs to do 4 separate things. I just can't do it for the life of me.
Well, when I was growing up, my dad would always ask us if we could spin one arm in one direction and get the other arm going in the other direction. And it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, yes, Darian. It's something new for you to try. But I feel like it's the same thing. It must be very challenging to acquire both, to be able to do both.
Too tough for me, for sure. All right, you mentioned these songs that you put together right away, you wrote within a couple of days and played them in the show. Any of those songs still around in your sets today?
Yeah, there is one that we played at our first show that we still bring out. It was our first single. It's called Darkest Hour. That's one of the first songs we wrote that we still play.
Yeah, it's gone through a bit of a metamorphosis, but the first show that we played it at, it was very bare bones, very just basic, and we kind of fleshed it out over a couple of years until we eventually released it on our first album, The Call, in 2022. But, we took a couple years after we first did it to refine it a bit more. That one, and every now and then, if we have to do super long sets, we'll bring out a few of the other ones from the first album.
Yeah, that would make sense to fill up the time for sure.
Deep cuts, right?
Deep cuts. All right, well, let's take that a step further. I mean, when you guys first formed, did you have a musical genre in mind?
I guess just rock. At least we were all fans of different versions of rock and metal. I didn't think we were going to form and start playing country or pop.
Right. So your influences, you have reference to people in the past. So whose influences are those?
Everybody looks at me.
It's all Ford's fault. Okay, we get it now.
Yeah. I like some heavier stuff, like more on the hardcore / I guess more modern stuff.
Like who?
Make me think of band names on the spot.
Royal Blood?
Royal Blood is a big one. I really like those guys.
Thank God your friends know you.
Chevelle.
Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah. So also, I grew up with, the big ones, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses. But I kind of moved away from that after I, started.
It's all our fault.
Yeah.
And then him.
So when I met them, I'd often tell them, I'd say, well, my biggest influence, and it still is the Beatles. And I was a huge Beatles fan growing up, and that was where, because I was already doing my own solo stuff when I met them, and all of that was kind of heavily Beatles influenced. Since then, I've taken a lot of other influences, all the way from, stuff like Daft Punk, Tame Impala, all the way to Queens of the Stone Age is my latest obsession, and we'll get, Metallica or any sort of modern, a lot of the stuff they have rubbed off on me too, so Royal Blood, Arctic Monkeys, all of that. And John has probably got the most.
I'm weird. I had started out loving 70s hard rock, so UFO and early Ozzy with Randy Rhoads and stuff like that. Just before I met everyone is when I started getting into thrash, so Megadeth, Metallica, and that evolved into a little bit of Pantera and heavier stuff. And then like Darian said, their music started rubbing off on me, so I started listening to Chevelle, Tool, and just all sorts of stuff. But I was very based in the 70s.
I'm surprised to hear such, old artists, quote unquote old. Who introduced you to that music?
My dad.
For me, as my dad and I, we'd often listen to, we've got a radio station in the Twin Cities called Cool 108, and when I was growing up, they played a lot of 60s and 70s music. Now it's more 80s and 90s, but I would listen to that every night. I'd even sleep with it on, and that's kind of how I learned a lot of the songs from the 60s. I'm super familiar with a lot of those, especially Motown and all of that stuff. But I kind of went on my own path and really delved down the rabbit hole of the Beatles and all of their cohort and other people of the time, and that kind of went along with once I met these guys. It was more what they like, and then kind of finding my way through that as well.
Sure. And then you, Trevor?
I've been kind of all over the map because I grew up with a lot of classic rock. Both my parents were very into Ozzy Osbourne and Tom Petty. Tom Petty's still one of my all-time favorites. And then as I got older, I got into more punk stuff, Green Day, and a lot of the other classic ones. And then got a little bit older and got really into the heavier metalcore and deathcore stuff. And then as I've gotten into my 20s, I've kind of calmed down from that, and now I've settled into more of a alternative rock, I still enjoy heavier stuff every now and then, but lately it's a lot of like Green Day, The Offspring. Ford recently introduced me to Dinosaur Pileup, who I like a lot. Yeah, I've kind of gone through a lot of any style of like rock or metal and kind of settled into the alternative rock stuff. It's kind of my main influence right now.
You're mellowing already?
Yeah.
So soon.
I've known you a long, long time. And I didn't know you liked Tom Petty as much as you say you do.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We're learning stuff too.
Keeps that secret in the closet.
No, Tom Petty is good. Tom Petty is good.
All right, Darian, I have a question.
Yes.
The Beatles. What is it about the Beatles that you seem to be drawn to?
That has captivated you.
Yeah, I don't exactly know why. I mean, it's just so early on in my life.
Which era of the Beatles?
Well, I most vividly remember first hearing the Abbey Road album, but I got really obsessed with the Beatlemania era, like the earlier years, and a lot of it was like the harmonies were great, the energy was great, the songs were fun, innocent, like simple for the time. Just the musicianship I really enjoyed, and that's how I learned, basically how I taught myself how to play guitar and piano and bass and sing and play at the same time. So it was a lot of what they did is what I tried to emulate, and that's basically made me the musician I am today.
Do you think they would be surprised to know that their Beatle influence has turned into this gradience of rock and metal?
Probably. I think that could be said for a lot of groups. I mean, I saw a video clip of Paul McCartney and Ozzy meeting for the first time, and Ozzy was saying like, Black Sabbath wouldn't exist without the Beatles. I owe so much to you. And it's like, who would have thought like the connection between those two?
You pay any attention to that show over the weekend?
Yeah, we were talking about it. We were gonna do the pay-per-view to watch, because we weren't able to watch it when it was live. But then we realized it was 10 hours long, so we just kind of looked up some highlights.
Great shows.
Yeah,
Great shows going on.
It was great, but we only had until 7 a.m. this morning to watch it. So,
Did you see Ozzy's performances?
I've seen clips on Facebook, but we're hoping there's probably going to be like a official streaming release or like a DVD or something. So like, hopefully, it won't be the last time we're able to see it.
Jay, for all of our listeners, what are you referring to?
Black Sabbath. We talked about it last Wednesday, as a matter of fact. The Black Sabbath's final appearance, final show. And then a bunch of, as we say, super groups got together to perform the Sabbath songs as well as others.
Oh, cool.
Including Hailstorm. So
Oh, wow, cool.
Hailstorm's one of my favorites, guys.
Nice.
So it was cool to see that. So, and then one of the other ones you mentioned was one of my daughter's favorites. I can't let it go by without mentioning the Arctic Monkeys. How does the Arctic Monkeys fit in with all the rest of the things you mentioned?
I think it's
Gradience.
Unless you want to say
far spectrum.
Unless you want to say anything.
I had an Arctic Monkeys phase where that was like the predominantly what I listened to for a few months, I guess. But it's one of those things where it's like when a band is together and they're so good at what they do, it's like, yeah, you can't not listen to that. That's kind of what drew me to them.
I went to see them in Tennessee. Took my daughter and her friend, and we went to see them play. And it was a great show. Everything was great about it, but it's just not the style of music I can get into for a long period of time.
That's right.
So,
and even they've evolved so much. Like their earlier stuff is a lot more upbeat, fast-paced, and then you look at their most recent couple of albums, and it's very mellow, jazzy. It's very different from how they started. We take more inspiration from that earlier stuff and more off the beaten path stuff than more recent albums that they've released.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into your music, the reason why we're all here tonight. So I want to talk about your writing and your production. So let's start with your writing. What's your writing process like?
Our writing process is all over the place. Sometimes I'll come up with a riff, I'll hold on to it, and then next time we meet, I'll just start playing it midway through a rehearsal and see if people join along. Sometimes Darian will disappear into his room at like 3 in the morning after a rehearsal and come back the next morning. He's like, "Hey guys, I wrote 3 full songs. Like, what do you think?" It's like, okay. So it's very random, whatever hits us and when it hits us. But I think the best songs we have are the ones when someone brings just a portion or a riff and then we all kind of write it in our jam space. Like, we were just writing a song before this. Like, we were just jamming.
So do I get credit for that?
Maybe. The only problem is, like, I hit record and, like, the intro riff, like, by the time we were done jamming, it's like, wait, what was that? And I went and looked and it wasn't recording.
Classic.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
Gone forever.
And this is why we go back to the Beatles, where we write everything that's memorable so that we don't forget. That's why their songs are so simple, is they wrote them because they had no other way to remember them. They had to be able to remember all those songs. So you guys take an eclectic approach to writing. So each one either come up with an idea, or Darian has to be a superstar going on.
There's some times where we'll just all jamming it. We'll be done with like rehearsal, and then we'll just kind of jam on something. And some of the time, not as often as you'd hope, something cool comes out of it, and something sticks. And then we'll take that core bit, and then one of us will flesh it out a little bit.
And sometimes, like, the song Comeback, pretty much all of that was done by Ford. I did a lot of our song Twisted, and Darian did, which one of, like, the main?
On a roll.
On a roll. Yeah, on a roll. Chaos Brigade.
Which one did you write again, Darian?
All of them.
Which album did you write? Yeah, no, we got it. Someone's an overachiever. We got it. No, that's awesome to be able to do that. So there is no separate I write lyrics, you write music piece. We all just get in there and collaborate in whatever comes to mind at that time.
Yeah, I think like the music part of it is definitely a lot more of a collaborative effort. I guess I prefer to write lyrics. I usually have like subject matters in mind, or like just kind of a direction, and I usually will flesh out lyrics kind of in one fell swoop.
Do you find, as being a vocalist, it's easier for you to do that so you can relate to it?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, I take lyrics very personally, I guess. Not necessarily autobiographical. Hard word to say, I guess. But
Trust us, we know.
But I don't know. I feel more connected to it when, I guess it's my quill to the paper.
Okay, I have a question for everybody for all these rock songs, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm a little suburban wife, okay? A suburban mom, so hard rock is not my preferred genre. You will not see me driving down the street jamming out to some heavy metal music. So, you said that the lyrics are really important to you, and I feel like the lyrics are very important to me as well. If I was to someday become a hard, heavy metal rock fan, how do people learn the words to the songs? Because they're not always being shouted, but they're definitely, I feel like they're equal level with like the guitars and the drums, and right there, everything kind of meshes together. So how do you guys get to know the meanings of songs? How do you think that your audience gets to know the meanings of these songs? Do you have to look them up? Because like back in the 80s, we couldn't look them up. So how do people relate to the music, or how do they find out what the song is about?
Well, at least back when cars had CD players, right? No.
In our day, Jay.
Actually,
When they had 8 tracks.
another big part about like with the Beatles connection for me anyway is that like I would end up with like a CD collection, and I'd love to open up the CDs and pull out the little booklets and like read the liner notes, and they often had lyrics in them. Nowadays, like online, like a lot of platforms have the lyrics. I know we put our lyrics on when we distribute the song. We'll add our lyrics so it comes up on Spotify and Apple Music. But then when it comes down, like it's even a production decision to try and make the lyrics, the vocals, as clear as possible. And also with our style, I mean, I'm definitely not one of those like heavy like gutturals or anything like that. You won't catch me doing that. I'm very much traditional, like we're singing.
We're singing music.
We're not going like the I can't. I'm not really big on that. So a lot of it's like the production and just making it as available as possible.
We do have a lyric book like in our CDs too. Like with our newest album, one of the things I'm like, I want a lyric book so people can like read them.
I love that you advocated for that, John.
Yeah, just because there are quite a few people that we meet that are like I don't go on my phone. Smartphones, like I'm not gonna look you up. I want your physical merch because like they're
Wow.
they're old school, and that's why we have a lyric book, and it's cool. You have the CD, and then you can kind of interact with it by following along and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I just love any song I can sing along with. So even if it is a little bit harder rock or whatever, I just want to sing along. So I appreciate that you guys are doing that.
So let's go ahead and take it a step further now. So we talk about your writing process. Now, do you do any sort of demo before you just go straight to recording it, or do you go straight to recording it?
Yeah, I think every song that we have, I think we've got demos for, whether it's like something that any of us do independently, have an idea, we'll like record it on our own computers, and then we'll pitch it to everybody else. That's kind of how it's been.
Like a guitar vocal style.
Yeah, like guitar vocal or just guitar and instrumental. Like it kind of varies in levels of how intense the production of the demos are. Like when Ford sent us Comeback, it was kind of almost a full production without the vocals, but he had the lyrics. And like John and I, we've sent songs where they just had guitars only, no drums, no vocals, and it's kind of a mix of all that, but pretty much always is going to be like guitar and maybe a light melody.
With like our songs sometimes in the mirror, like those were ones we wrote like all together, so we really made sure when we do demos that like our rehearsal will hook up everything and we'll make sure we get one or two really good takes of it, and then Darian will go and mix it down so we can listen to it all together for the first time.
Yeah, sometimes was interesting because it came as just kind of we were kind of in between rehearsing, and we were just kind of just jamming on a couple of notes, and it became like a minute-long jam, but it didn't really go anywhere. Well, I took that clip and I edited it down so we had like a verse section, and then I kind of copy-pasted and then took the section that was more or less the chorus, and I took that and I basically restructured it to have a full song structure, and then I put vocals over it, and then I said, okay, this is the idea, let's polish this down, and then that's kind of how that song kind of got put together, more or less.
Some chopping and screwing.
Well, that's a good point. I want to tag on to that just a bit. Do you then build off that rough piece, or do you scrap it and start a new session and build from there?
I'd say a bit of both. Like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, these two sections are really good, but we totally need a new intro. But then sometimes it's like, oh yeah, let's just play this, but like nice and consistently, and maybe add a few layers to it.
Yeah, I like an example I can think of is the song off our new album, In the Mirror. I had the verse section and I had the riff and everything, and we did that. We did like a chorus section, and then I had pitched an idea for the bridge. Well, that was completely different and awful. It was slow and completely took the energy away from the song, and we kind of sat on it for a bit, scrapped it, and then totally switched up the bridge, and it basically made the song whole. And that's just a situation where it's like we took an idea that we had, wasn't working, scrapped it, and replaced it with something else. Basically took the middle out of the song and put a new one back in.
Yeah, sometimes those demos are like vetting process. So like if there's a demo out there and I'm able to listen to it in my car for like 3 days in a row, and I find like, wow, I don't really like this very much. Like sometimes it takes that amount of time to figure out if you like something or not, or if that's going to stick.
And then a lot of time in the moment, like something seems really cool, but then you step back and listen to it, and then you're like,
What were we or, oh, there's a better thing. Like, let's do that instead.
I think we've had a few songs where like we took the demo, listened to it, went and like added parts, and then the parts we added were really cool, but we weren't vibing with the original demo, but the parts we added, so then they became like their own song.
My daughter introduced me to a song, and I was like, I don't like this song. And then she just kept playing it. I was like, oh, I like this song now. Kind of the same thing in the reverse way, right? Where you're like, this is awesome. Then you're listening, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll change a part of it.
So talk to me about the recording process. Are you guys tracking your own stuff then?
Yep.
So what software are you using?
I use Logic Pro.
All right.
Solid choice.
Logic Pro along with the Universal Audio interface.
What's the I/O situation like? How many ins and outs do you have?
So I typically use the X4, that's going to be your 4 preamps, unison preamps, and then I think it's got 4 line outs. But then for drum tracking, I've got a Apollo X8, which will add another 4. And then I've got the Audient 8P, which will add another 8 preamps so we could track drums. But when we were recording drums for the last couple songs on the album, we tracked them all at the same time, but we ended up redoing the guitars. But for tracking drums, I went a little bit overboard with what I had done with the other ones, and I had added a couple of additional room mics that I'd used facing away from the kit to get the reflections, just to add a little bit of a depth and different tonality to the drums, which I think, in my humble opinion, sounded really, really good. I think it turned out some of my favorite drum recordings, honestly.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you say sometimes you record with the guitars. So when you're doing that, are you doing them as line inputs? How are you doing the guitars?
Both of their amps have a direct line out. John uses a head rush unit, so we can just go straight from that. And as much as he hates it, Ford's got a Fender Mustang, which is a little bit older, solid state digital amp. Sounds pretty good sometimes, but it's got an external out, so it's good for being able to go direct and not have to worry about too much bleed if we don't want any of the bleed.
Right.
And we go in and like re-record those those DI tracks.
Get stuff mic'd up.
Yeah. But I have used the raw DI to just sprinkle in, add some depth to choruses and things like that.
Trevor, are you just the beauty? Are they the brains and you're just the beauty?
So far, yes. I'm still relatively. I joined the band like last winter, and it was actually on the topic of the demos. It was kind of cool because like the whole album was written, and I got sent the demos to like learn all the songs, and then hearing the masters for the first times, you kind of hear like what parts had changed or whatnot. So it was cool. Like I kind of got to hear the songs for the first time like twice, basically.
Sure.
So far, I think for as long as I've been playing with the band, we've had a decent amount of songs like written already since I've joined. So I've been excited to kind of get in there and experience that for the first time as well. But when it comes to like the recording, it's all Darren and these guys that handle it.
Yeah, Trevor had the arduous task of trying to learn all the drum parts for this new album. When he was coming in, it was already, everything had been laid down already by our fantastic drummer Tom, who's up in Fargo doing some other projects. But I'd be remiss if we didn't give him his credit for doing the marvelous drum work on the album, which Trevor has done a wonderful job at learning all of those parts.
Now, Trevor, do you like that? Does it bother you to learn somebody else's parts?
No, I actually, it helped a lot because this is the first band I've played in, and the way I've always learned songs, I've been playing drums since I was like 13, but it was like, you just put on headphones and then you just play along to whatever you hear. So like, I think it actually kind of helped ease me into it, having to learn someone else's parts instead of having to, if the album wasn't recorded yet and I was like, all right, we need you to write drums for these 12 songs. It's like, I like kind of easing into it, and then now that, it kind of helped also learn the style of the band, then I can kind of add my own taste on top of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed both the recordings and their old drummer Tom. His style, I think, really kind of fit well with it, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Do you feel like your style of drumming differs that much from Tom's style?
He's a little bit more of like the heavier like thrash type, I feel like. And I'm more of the I would say like punk, where it's like not super fancy but more about the energy. And I try to keep it simple for the most part, and then choose my moments kind of wisely.
Do you think that works well with that old 70s type style?
As long as you kind of, fit to the song, I think. I think I'm good at adapting to whatever the mood of the song is, which is drums a lot of times, which is something I didn't really realize until I started playing drums, was it's even like a slightly different hi-hat pattern or whatever can like totally change the feel of the song. So like a lot of times when I'm like writing these parts, whether it's an older style song or like a heavier one, you kind of got to try out different things, maybe on a crash cymbal or like just doing like a snare roll, or like kind of find what fits the vibe and the mood of the song.
Well, I think if you're talking about bands, I mean, even like the Arctic Monkeys or some of that earlier feel, or the Beatles, you're talking about simplicity and you're building around simplicity. You mentioned Tool as well, which is completely on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself ever wanting to go down the route of Tool?
Not to that degree. I've definitely, since joining the band, I've been inspired to sit down there and like practice and learn a lot more. 'Cause it's been a long time since I like practiced technique and like different stickings and whatnot. So it's definitely, it's kind of made me step the game up. And like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get as crazy as like Danny Carey. I'm trying to learn some more intricate like stickings and fills and some like rudiments too. Which is what I always liked about Travis Barker, was he does a lot of the like marching kind of rudiments in there. Yeah, I got to find the place for it, but I think that could be really effective, going forward.
As of like lately, the Foo Fighters come to mind as as probably a band where we all came together and we were like, they're kind of doing the thing that we like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them and Dinosaur Pileup.
Dinosaur Pileup's a big one. Dinosaur Pileup has kind of more of a hip-hop feel in a lot of their songs, versing and stuff, which we don't really do. But like every other part of the song, they're one of the bands we fit in well genre-wise, or Turnstile with some of our stuff. They're
cool.
a newer band, and they're really good. Oh, there's so many. There's so many bands that we're discovering now. They're like, oh yeah, they're
Kind of in that like hardcore.
Let's
punk.
change gears a little bit. Let's talk about your live performances, because you guys definitely come with a lot of energy, right? So, first of all, who's booking your gigs?
us.
We are. Yeah.
So, with that said, you guys obviously a fairly new band. Are you wearing multiple hats? Who does what in the band?
Between John and I, we do a lot of the like social media stuff. I've done a lot of the cold calls and emails, a lot of unopened emails, unresponded to emails. Yeah, it's mostly been John and I working the social media game and just trying to reach out to new bands, and we've gotten a fair amount of shows just from other bands who find us and they're like, hey, you want to do the show with us? You guys seem cool. We've been fortunate to have a few other bands reach out to us while we also are reaching out to bands.
I saw you got a pretty sweet gig coming up on the 26th at the Red Carpet in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, and we like a couple days ago, we just had a band reach out to us to play there this Saturday because another band had dropped the show. So we're going to be playing there the 12th and the 26th.
Oh my gosh. Well, everybody who is listening that is my friend from Waite Park, Sartell, St. Cloud, you guys got to go check them out. Red Carpet this Saturday?
Yep, this Saturday.
Okay, and the 26th.
And the
so
26th, yeah.
Yeah, head over while the weather's still beautiful and you can be out and about. Out and about.
Oops.
Don't encourage me.
Oh, mercy me. So what are you looking forward to most about the show?
For me, like, I love every show because I really love, like, performing. You're up there, and then all of a sudden, you wake up the next day and you're like, whoa, what just happened? But when you remember, like, the feeling of being up there, it's really cool because we put a lot of energy, like, into our performance because we want everyone to have fun and, like, to go to a show. I'm very much a believer of, like, when I go to shows, it could be the best sounding show, but if every band member is just standing there looking at their fretboards or just standing still and they move maybe 5 feet throughout the whole show, it kind of kills the mood for me. Like, I want to see people jumping over things and, I don't know, going through a fire loop or something.
That reminds me of the Cars. I don't know if you're familiar with the Cars, but they just stood in one spot. One of the best sounding bands ever, but they never moved. Never.
Right.
Well, I always am impressed with rock and heavy metal. It takes a lot of energy to bounce around the stage like that and still play the song and still sound good. You know, I mean, I've been to a couple, long story, but I've been to a couple that they're completely distorted. You can tell everything's off because they're too busy trying to like put on a show. So, John, I appreciate, you know, that you're saying you want a great show, but I think you guys are also keeping in mind that the music is great as well.
Yeah, it's more so like practicing and rehearsing enough to like we gotta get our set like locked in to where we're not even thinking about what we're playing. I think
Basically, making it so that the playing part of it is muscle memory, and then we can focus on, you know, having fun, but also like the showmanship part of it.
Yeah, that's going to come with hundreds and hundreds of shows.
Yep.
Who gets the most nervous?
I don't know. 4 noise just seems too much shot.
Sorry for it.
It was like 3 heads just like turning.
Because John and Darian, you seem extremely extroverted, so I have to imagine that you guys are just drawing the energy off the crowd.
You know,
But I gotta think in 4 people, someone's getting nervous.
I really used to be like I had some stage fright, and then played a few shows, and that was gone. I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but it was fantastic. I'm happy.
We're proud of you.
Yeah.
Well, do you all find that you have the jitters, maybe just even a little bit, but you hit that first note or two, and you're like, all right, now we're in it, we're going? Yeah.
I always find that it depends on the show. I mean, growing up, I had terrible stage fright. I did not want to go on stage, but you know, over time, I think a lot of it is feeling confident in your abilities to perform or to do what you do, and it kind of helps put the stage fright away. Now that said, like I was saying, it depends on the show. Like playing a different venue can definitely bring in some post-show jitters, or even the size of the crowd or the size of the venue. I know we played Sturgis, and just that being such a big deal for us at the time, there was definitely some pre-show jitters, especially because we were towards the end of the lineup. So already seeing the other great bands that were performing, just kind of, the nerves were in, and I was sick at the time on top of that.
Shoot.
So I wasn't in good vocal health. So I was just like, oh man, I hope I can pull through. Like I was chugging honey and drinking water and
Trying to find a doctor.
trying to find a doctor. And you know, it's just the all those things that can work its way into just being, you know, pre-show anxiety and a little bit of stage fright. But you know, it's just once you start performing, it kind of melts away more or less.
I think to me it just displays the passion, you know, how much it meant to you guys, and I'm sure it still means a lot, but you know, you're getting more familiar. I would say that's a big deal, and it meant a lot, and you know, you were hoping great things would come out of it, exposure and leads on other events, so that makes sense.
I was a little worried about Trevor for the first few shows because he was like, yeah, I've
We're
never
all
played in
worried
like a
about
band
Trevor.
before.
Yeah, I had never. My first show, it was this thing. It wasn't so much the day. It was like the night before. I got like super nervous. As soon as we started playing, like it instantly just went away. And I think a large part of it too is at any level, like it's natural to be nervous, no matter how small or big the show is. But it's all about like how you kind of react to that and feel that into the performance. Because I played a lot of sports growing up, so I'm kind of used to like the high pressure situation. So it's like you got to kind of turn those nerves like into adrenaline and then just into energy, and then you know put on a good show. Yeah, really, I've gotten really comfortable with it now.
All right, well, let's take it a step further. You mentioned the social media and putting all that stuff together. Is that your core way right now of developing your fan base?
Social media has definitely been a big focus, definitely of the last year. We recently, last summer, we made the move from basically Fargo down to the Twin Cities area, which was a pretty big deal for us just because, you know, I grew up here, Trevor grew up in the Twin Cities, but these two hadn't, and for the last 5 years, the three of us had been up in Fargo, and we had kind of made a fan base up there, but not so much really anywhere else. And so we realized that the social media is kind of the best way to reach out to the rest of the world, basically. So we've really focused a lot of time, effort, and a bit of money into developing our social media presence.
What do you feel is your strength when it comes to marketing yourselves?
Probably at shows, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say our strongest point is shows.
Yeah, because that's the point. Like you can be direct with people. You can meet them and greet them and say hi and get to know them as people. Like, hey, I think you're cool and I think you like our music.
When you're playing a show in a new venue, or maybe you're opening for somebody and you're in front of a new crowd, are you pushing your social media? Do you mention it from the stage?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll make sure to mention our social media handles, not really try to shove it down people's throats. I think we've all had experiences where a band takes it a little too far and is a little too incessant on it. But, in between, if we're doing an hour-long set, maybe I'll shout it out a couple times. Maybe I should do it more, but I, kind of go with the flow and deem what seems
right.
Right.
Read the room.
Reasonable, yeah. Like, I'm not going to shout it out several times if there's still only 10 people in the room. I think if I say it once towards the end, I think they'll get the idea. Or by then maybe they're too plastered to understand. But
We try not to do those ones if we can help it.
But yeah, so if we get a good show with a good number of people, and there's new people coming in and out all the time, you want to make sure that those people know what's up and make sure they know who you are.
Especially if it's like a new town, because we use our social media heavily to post like what shows are coming up and when. So if we're playing a new venue in a new town, or like to new people, because it still kind of feels like we are new, because whenever we do show, people are like, oh, we've never heard of you before. It's like, yeah, follow us on social media, so the next time we play, you can, if you like us, you can come back out. It's just a way of like making sure people see when we're coming back, if they like us.
Are you guys jokesters at all?
Oh yeah.
I did just the other night.
The three of us live together. Like we've been living together for 3 years, and
once again, Trevor's the outcast. I'm just
I
saying.
know. I was going to say, when is Trevor moving in?
Well, Trevor is ahead of all of us. He's got his own house, but I've known Trevor since we were kids. I grew up with Trevor for a very long time. We kind of went our separate ways in high school, and and post high school and all that. But when we realized we were going to end up needing a new drummer, I had remembered that like when we were growing up, he started taking interest in playing the drums, and I had asked him if he would be interested in potentially doing stuff with us. And
Darian, what if he would have stunk?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a break from him for a while,
Yeah.
and here you are like, join the band. I don't even know if you're good anymore, but come on.
See, but the thing was that when growing up, like before we had kind of went our separate ways, like I started to notice that he was picking up on, like he had his own drum kit, and like he was starting to actually like play and learn. And it was around the same time, like both of us were really starting to get into music. Like I started playing guitar, he was playing drums, and I didn't really know how far along he had gotten, but just reaching out to see if he was still like doing, because I know like you were posting every now and then on Facebook.
Yeah.
You would post like stuff. So it's like I kind of had an idea that he at least knew what he was doing.
Got it.
Yeah, it was funny for me too, because I've followed for years on like social media a lot of the guys that do like the home recording stuff and playing local shows. So a lot of it, I had a good idea of what it entailed, but I just had never like done it myself. So yeah, they kind of took me in and have been showing me the ropes on all of that type of stuff.
I love that so much.
Yeah, and just so like we all went to college together, the three of us. And
Wait, whoa. What did we go to college for?
I was curious about that in the beginning too, Jay.
Well, so yeah, all three of us, we have the same degree, the Bachelor of Science in basically audio production is what it boils down to. It's got a different name, but it's convoluted, and it no longer exists anymore where we came from. It's something else now. But basically audio production.
And like live sound.
Yeah, and performance. I had a minor in basically music vocal performance.
So this is why you guys have your own rehearsal space and the reason why you're recording your own projects.
Basically, yeah. If I hadn't gone to school for audio, like I wouldn't have taken upon myself to try and record us, all those years ago. And it really helps living together because we can just kind of grab each other and be like, hey, let's record something or let's practice this. And that was kind of the whole idea about moving
Trevor.
into a house together.
No.
Yes. Sorry, we didn't include
that was one of the things that really kind of attracted me to these guys as a band, even like before I was in, because I was following them on like social media and whatnot, but like the fact that it's a very organic, like recording all their own stuff legitimately and like just jamming together instead of just writing everything in Pro Tools and then be like, hey, learn this, hey, learn this. It's like, no, we're all just jamming in a room together and vibing off of it. I really like that aspect of it.
Trevor, how far is your house from theirs?
30 minutes. We're in a spot though that like if traffic's bad, like I've tried to get over here during rush hour before, and it'll take like an hour of just sitting there. But it's not too far away.
Thanks, 494.
Yeah.
I was going to say old 494.
Yeah.
Some things never change.
Yeah. Usually it's at night too, so that helps. So.
Yeah.
All right. I mentioned earlier you guys being pranksters. Tell me what's one of the craziest things you guys have done to each other.
Oh,
Craziest?
We had a
Ford
bunch
speaking
of
up.
Yeah.
Always
had-
the quiet one.
We had a bunch of leftover carpet.
it's the same one.
Yeah, it's the same.
That was the one I was
A
going
bunch
to
of
say.
leftover carpet, and we had these two guys lived downstairs in our last place, so we carpeted their entire bathroom, like around the toilet, in the tub. We carpeted everything, like covered the whole thing, like cut it out around the toilet and everything.
The best part is I was there and I witnessed it because he was gone, so I was there to document the process.
Yeah, they cut the carpet in. Like, it was perfectly fitted carpet into the bathroom around the toilet. And I came back from, like, a college trip to the cities for, like, where I was working. And I really had to use the bathroom because I was, like, driving a van for, like, 12 hours. So I got back, went into the bathroom, and, like, as I was going downstairs, they were waiting for me, and I just heard a bunch of giggles. I'm like, what? And such a stupid prank. Like, why'd you carpet the bathroom? You wasted 2 hours on this.
The amount of time we took too, yeah, that was kind of it. It was really a prank on us for doing all that work.
It sounds to me like you guys have a plan B.
Like, that was
If
the most
this fan doesn't
dedicated.
work out, you're putting some
Yep.
carpet down.
Hire us. We're open.
I mean, he did actual carpentry, so.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
like the removal process mostly.
Or just little things around the house too. Like last night, he left a full pizza out on the counter, and so
Who does
sorry
that?
to dox you, but there's a long story short. It was his second pizza.
Don't
but
tell
he
them
didn't
that.
God. But he left it out, so I took it and I put it on a chair, and there we have this stuffed animal. And I put it in the lap of the stuffed animal, and I put it in front of his door, so when he opened it, he would see it. Just simple, harmless. Or like he had some takeout or something, and it was on the kitchen counter, and I moved it to the couch, hidden in plain sight, and I just watched to see how long it would take for him to find it.
We had
Making me lose
a
my mind over here.
Yeah.
A very long running one where, like, at our campus they'd give out, like a bag that had like Vaseline and condoms and stuff in it. So like we had this like little portable Vaseline thing, or like this like lube thing.
Yeah, it was lube.
And we would hide it.
You can
in,
call it Vaseline if it makes you feel better.
It's
It was just like a little tube of it. So what we would do is like we'd hide it in the other person's room. Eventually, one day we put it in the back of Ford's guitar.
Yeah, and
And
then,
then at like a show where he was like, he took out the back plate of his guitar to like adjust some springs or like change his strings or something. And then he found it after like 6 months.
Yeah, that was something. I thought it was.
I think it ended up in
It ended up in
gone.
in one of my
Monitor.
guitar. It ended up in one of my guitar pedals that I asked Ford to dissect for me, which he didn't do a good job at hiding it because he was giggling the whole time. But I found it and I hid it underneath his computer monitor that eventually got taken back to his parents' house.
So your parents found your lube. Got it.
Then we had like this similar thing, but with this little thing of peanut butter from the cafeteria.
That was found, yeah.
That was nasty.
Darian and I hid it in Ford's pedalboard case in our last house 2 years ago, and he found it about a week ago.
Oh my goodness.
And it had been opened.
Yeah.
We didn't open it. It just ended up open.
Oh.
All right, let me ask you this. We do this thing here we call Unsung Heroes, where we take a moment to shine the light on somebody who's worked behind the scenes or somebody who may have supported you along the way. Do you guys have anybody you'd like to shine a little light on?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Big shout out to our photographer, videographer, and just overall great friend, Emma Christensen. She has been an incredible help for this, helping out with all of our music videos, and she's been working tirelessly all through last year, and she's been documenting like photos and taking videos pretty much all of our shows for the last couple years now. We just got finished with probably a last music video for a while for our song On a Roll, which that was the first video that we did. We did it outside of our house, and we did like location filming and rented out a space for 2 days and had a crew, casting call, all sorts of stuff. And she took it head on, and we owe a great deal to her expertise in filmmaking and photography.
What was that like for you?
It was great. I mean, it was it was definitely it was a passion project, more or less. It was kind of my idea to do it in. We rented out a boxing ring basically, and I was doing some boxing lessons to prepare for the shoot, and I did that for a month.
Yeah, that's commitment. You learn how to box.
And then
that was cool.
And then the filming process was just, it was a lot of heavy lifting, because I mean, it was basically putting on we call them capstone projects in the undergrad program with a small film crew, and it was just a big undertaking, which wouldn't have been possible without Emma to be able to help out with that.
Well, thank you, Emma.
I imagine Emma went to school with y'all as well.
Yep, she was a film major.
Now that's the school to go to. You get your whole team right there at the school.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, we have done it. We've reached the top of the hour, which does mean we have reached the end of the show. If you've enjoyed the show, please tell a friend. If you have not, Miss Tiffany.
Tell two.
Tell two. You can reach out to all of us. All of us. I said it, all of us. There's a lot of us tonight. All of us. You can reach out to all of us over at jfranzi.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions or keep this conversation going. Guys, my friends, got any final words for us?
Go listen to our new album, come what may.
All right, folks. On that note, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.